Hi everybody, welcome back. So I finished the Fujimi Ferrari 250 GTO, and so I thought I'd show it off and just kind of talk about the model. First of all, I want to thank everybody who gave their suggestions about the varnish for the model. I did go out and buy the Tamiya TS 13 and sprayed that on yesterday. And then it worked out fine without any issues or anything like that. So I appreciate everybody's comments about that. And, this has been a learning process for me. So, my kits aren't perfect. The way I do things aren't perfect. And I'm certainly learning as I go here. So what I thought I'd do is just kind of show you the car. Let's get this spinning a little bit so you can actually see it. I did, after I varnished it, allowed that to dry and everything, I did go over it with Novus polish. So I just kind of buffed that out a little bit. It actually cleaned up some of the marks and things like that with glue and that had gotten on the varnish when I was starting to add the like the rear view mirror or the side mirrors, the door handles and things like that had gotten on some of the paint. So that actually helped clear that up a little bit, so there aren't as many marks as there were earlier. I was able to figure out how to fix the engine compartment, and I will explain that. If you remember, in my last video, I showed you that the two engine compartment sides, the sidewalls, were kind of up at an angle, and I couldn't figure out how to get them to lay flat. So what I did, and if you remember, it had two connection points on the radiator, and when you did that, it made those things go up into the air. So what I did was, I disconnected them from the radiator, and then I cut the two pin marks off of the radiator, and then I reset the walls so that they would actually lay flat. And I was able to readjust the manifolds on the engine so that those things would lay flat. And it all went together. Once I finally did that, everything just seemed to kind of go back together again. Now, as with everything with me, nothing ever goes as planned. And one of these days I'm going to learn to put the wheels on, or put the tires on first before I put the suspension on. So this kit has, when you assemble the rotors for the brakes, it had these poly caps that were inside of it, so the wheels would spin. They would turn without friction or issue. Well, the problem was that there was those. It's very, very tight, and then once you try to push the tires onto the poly caps, it was very, very difficult. And again, I started to bend, and I actually ended up breaking off the rear axle here. So what I ended up doing was I was able to pull the rear axle off, squeeze those two things on without applying any more pressure to the rest of the frame, and then put the wheels on. The other thing that I ended up having a small problem with was the hood. And I'm going to show you this. So the way the hood is designed, this piece goes up underneath here, and then this piece attaches to this. This thing is so stiff and tight. Even after I had glued this into the car and I attempted to move the hood so that I could just see if it worked, it essentially just pulled it right off the body. This thing doesn't give very well. And the 2 points that are up underneath this over here to glue this on only attach along in here. So I just left it out. It wasn't worth it. But here, let me stop this and let me just show you what the rest of the car looks like. I'm gonna bring the camera up a little bit. So it'd be a little bit easier for me. Okay. Now, like I said, issues with the hood. Now, the other issue with the hood was these stacks. They actually interfere with the bottom of the hood here, or the inside of the hood. It's just a little bit too tall. I don't know why. I'm not sure what's out of place, but you know, I went back and I made sure, you know, all this stuff is all level, pushed into their holes and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so there's that. You can see the color on this turned out really, really well. I'm very happy with it. Actually, let me leave that off for a minute. Pick up the rest of the car here. I think this turned out really well. There's a couple of smudge marks on the windshield that for whatever reason, I couldn't get off. Decals laid on really, really well. Used a little Mark Fit strong on them, and they laid right down. No issues with those. Here's the underneath. Not much under there. You can see there's still a little bit of an issue with this one tire. It just won't sit properly. And something else that I thought was kind of interesting. So there's a tie rod that connects the two front tires together so that you can turn them and they turn in the same direction. That piece was actually not in the instructions at all. I ended up with that piece left over and I'm like, what is this for? And it actually wasn't even in the instructions. So anyway, there's the kit. This one definitely went together better than the first Fujimi kit that I made. It does certainly have its issues, which I've described, but this one definitely went together better than the last one. So that's really all I've got. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. It's Sunday. I'm getting ready to convert back to night shift and go to work tonight, so I'll be heading to bed for a little bit. And I hope everybody's having a pleasant day. I'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye.